Also,
welcome to Required Taste Podcast. We are back. It's your boy Tech Daddy.
How do?
Yes.
Hello.
There we go. Good enough. I'll take it.
There was so much pressure.
Yeah, I was staring at you with intent.
I felt it.
That's how it is.
That's just the heat up here.
It's the heat of my look, of my gaze.
It's so warm.
It is. That's how I got a girlfriend. Anywho,
I would describe it as girthy.
I will stand by what I said.
It's going to be a long afternoon.
Yeah, it is. Anyways, welcome to Required Taste Podcast.
It's afternoon.
Okay. You mind if I do the intro? Okay.
Oh, you're here.
Yep. It's in my house. Anywho, welcome to Required Taste Podcast. If you're a new listener, thank you for giving us a listen to. We are a history-based podcast. We do some history, mystery, music sometimes. We also do listener-suggested episodes. So if you have one for us, please let us know. Send it to us in our DMs. If you want to slide in there, or you can hit us up on our email. Everything's requiredtastepodcast.com. We have that website too. So, so thanks for giving us a listen to. We appreciate it. Stick around. We're going to do a little bit of banter in the beginning of the episode. Gets us loosened up. Gets us warmed up to give you the episode that you came here for. So, thanks for checking us out. If you are a returning listener, we appreciate the support over all these years. If you've been following us for a bit, you know we've done a lot of topics. This is going to be another one that's kind of more pertinent.
Timely.
Yeah, definitely more timely. Indeed. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. So, it's going to be a bit heavy on the history on this one. So, we do appreciate your support over all these years. So, if you're still following us, we appreciate it. If you're not following us, give us a follow. Normally we get your forehead kisses, but nobody here is going to do that. So, just know, that we appreciate it. Also, check out our website. We do have a website up now, requiredtastepodcast.com. It has not only where you can listen to our audio, you can listen see the video, and it has our merch on there too. So check that out. I designed it myself. So
With love.
And we're still very proud of you.
thank you. Dude, I haven't designed a website since I was 18. All right. So,
I think you're doing great.
thanks.
I think you're doing
20
great.
whole years ago. Thanks to MySpace and then my very brief career of college of having taking HTML coding classes. I hated that class.
But look where it got you. You're a podcaster.
And an attic with his friends.
Yep.
There are worse situations to be in attics.
There have been. There have been. Man, I need to put that counter somewhere on the wall.
Yeah, we do.
It's in the box over there. It's a whole thing. So yeah, this week's episode though, I'll get into that in a minute. So icebreaker wise, we did not talk about what we're going to talk
No,
about
we
before
didn't.
this. I did just watch Indiana Jones though, like I mentioned when we guys first got here, and that was fucking dope. Because I love how these theaters are just coming back all these old movies.
Even when it's not a remake, it's still a remake. It's a re-release.
It's a re-release. I'll take it. I will take it.
I will take that over the garbage that they're peddling.
Because I don't know anybody that's actually seen Indiana Jones 5. I don't even know the name of it.
I haven't seen 4
I
or
was going
5.
to say, I don't know what 5's about.
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you.
I think the last one
Money.
It's that South Park episode all over again.
Oh, God, that one? Oh, God.
If you know what I'm referring to, you know what I'm referring to. I'm not describing that on the internet.
No.
Which one was Crystal Skull? That was
4.
Okay, that's the last one I saw then.
That's probably for the best.
That was a Shia LaBeouf one, wasn't it?
LaBouille.
Yeah, he ruins everything.
LaBouille.
Along with Disney and everything else. But
Well, yeah.
Shia
And
LaBeouf.
Greed, of course, but
Yeah.
you'll have that.
I hate.
Yeah, so but it was the first one. They showed the first one in theater. The Imagine Theater over in Portage. They just I didn't know how many old movies they were showing, but they have a whole wall of them that they're just doing in succession.
Oh, really?
So The Matrix is on the list.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, if you go to their website, there's it's a franchise, but I think the closest one to the region that we're in is Portage.
Yeah, I think that's the only one.
The only one out here.
Yeah,
And it got significantly cheaper.
Dude, yeah, for
Even for current movies, the ticket's $10 or something.
It's $10.
Like that.
Yeah.
And they don't gouge their snack prices.
No, that's what, dude. Imagine theaters. Like, if we can get a sponsorship by them, I will talk about them all day for money. I'm doing it right now for free, though. This is a trailer. This is a teaser for you guys.
The first one's free.
You could be getting this.
The first one's free.
Just the tip.
That's true. But yeah, like, so not only the theater's clean, it's very comfortable because it has like the reclining seats.
The same seats that AMC has been advertising to us for 20 fucking years. Not even 20 years. 25, maybe 30 years.
Yes.
I've been staring at those stupid fucking red love seats on the AMC trailers, and not once has my ass been in one. Those are still carousel seats.
Yep, it's true. So yeah, but like the tickets were for even new movies, it's like $10. I think it was like $20 for me and Jess to go see Indiana Jones, and then like we got 2 big ass drinks, the giant popcorn, of course, giant popcorn, giant drinks, and like a thing of cookies, and I think it was like $20.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm not mad about it,
And the seats are heated,
and it was heated
and cooled.
and I had mine on cooled. Yeah,
Yeah, we took my niece and nephew to see that Mario movie whenever that came out.
The Mario movie's pretty good.
Yeah, that was like
I never saw it actually.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, they did a good job.
Last time I was over at my friend's house, they put it on to like keep the kids entertained, and then I'm sitting with the kids as well.
There's nobody that listens to this that's surprised by that.
It's a really good video game cutscene.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I don't say that disparagingly.
Sure.
Like, you know.
Well, my thing is, I was never a Mario kid. So I grew
Same.
up on Sega.
Same.
So my brother had the Nintendo and then the SNES, but I had Sega. So I was never a Mario Nintendo person.
I had a Super Nintendo, and I had like the original like Mario games.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
I liked GoldenEye, Doom, Duke Nukem, you know, all that kind of stuff. My brother was the one that liked Mario, and you know, still glad to have played it when I was a kid. And I played the first Mario game I really played like with any level of drive was Super Mario 64 on the N64.
Okay.
But that's when it was fun, when it was 3-dimensional. For me.
I remember that.
For me personally.
By the way, the next one that they're showing, because I forgot, they told about this before the movie started. Their next 2 they're doing is the Ghostbusters original.
Nice.
Right, that's like in 2 weeks, by the way, so we can all go. I'm just putting that out there.
Hell yeah.
And then the other one is Top Gun. They're showing the original Top Gun.
Hell yeah.
And it's like $10.
Wasn't even old enough for that. Or well, we weren't even alive for that, at least.
No, that's why, like, when I saw, when they did Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'm like, I never saw this in theater.
Yeah.
And I can now see this for $10 whole.
Hell yeah.
So
It's great.
I would love to watch the original Jurassic Park in theaters again.
I did for my birthday in my 20s.
Yeah.
They like did a re-release for it in my 20s.
Yeah,
And my buddy Rick James actually let me go see that.
Oh, okay.
For my birthday.
Yeah. I would love to hear that movie again.
It's good.
Yeah. Those elephants that we went to late last year, and when those things go off because you're inside and everything for when they're showing you and you're feeding them and everything, once in a while they blast off.
Oh yeah.
And everything, and when you're inside a building, that's when you can tell that that was the root sound that they used for the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. Like when you're inside covered by a ceiling, they're like, yep, I hear it. I hear it
It's
now.
amazing. Yeah, it's honestly amazing.
So my fun video game thing from when I was younger is my mom got me and my brother a PlayStation 2 when I was younger.
Okay.
And the game she got was Grand Theft Auto 3.
Did she not know?
She did not know. She just thought it was a racing game. And
Theft.
yeah.
Auto.
Proceed, sir.
And
Proceed, sir.
this game came out in 2001, so I was 9 at the time.
Way to make us feel old, dude.
You
Fuck you.
disgust me.
So little 9-year-old me is learning about fucking hookers and murdering people and fucking the police and
I'm gonna make a lemonade stand. Get me some bitches.
Yes.
that is why I am the way I am today.
Yeah.
Stealing cars.
We'll go
and
with that.
bitches.
Do you like hookers?
Do you not like hookers?
No. Have you seen the hookers out here? Definitely not.
Oh, you don't get them from local. You gotta travel a little bit.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah,
I
the
like
goal.
how I just made myself the one who gets one.
100% you outed
Like,
yourself.
we are recording this, dude. Like, this is on the internet forever. I don't edit these.
I've said worse.
Fair enough.
Very true.
Fair enough. Yeah, he tried to sell me on space slavery. Anyways,
I wasn't selling it.
Everybody knows you weren't. You just said it in the worst way possible.
and it's on the internet.
And it's hilarious. Everybody here knows what you meant.
I'm just preparing myself for the day that I have to be in front of-
Congressional hearings.
Yes.
All of us. We're going to be the next Dave Portnoy or something.
Jeez. By the way, the Ghostbusters thing is July 28th, or no, I'm sorry, June 28th, 29th, and July 2nd.
Hell
Put it
yeah.
out there. So after we record this, we're going to talk about this and figure out what
Are they doing Independence Day?
They are not actually.
Motherfucker.
That is a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
You are correct.
It's on a Friday.
Wow, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll get to see it in real life here soon.
Right. By the way, they're also doing the 30-year anniversary of Batman Forever. So that's in July.
I'll fuck around with that.
I would definitely watch
Yeah,
that.
I would-
Dude, for $10, I would do that.
Batman Forever it's not my favorite, but it's not the one I hate.
Yeah, that's the one with
Batman and
Jim
Robin.
Batman and Robin. That
That's
was the
a-
one with that's the one with Bat Nipples, isn't it? Was Batman and Robin?
The fourth one for sure.
What?
The fourth one.
You're so young. I forget these things.
The fourth one for sure. I forget if I don't think the third one had. I think it was only the Clooney one.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, because thankfully this is still Val Kilmer. So
Yeah.
so Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face. Jim Carrey, obviously. Nicole Kidman was in it. Yeah,
and Tommy Lee Jones hated Jim Carrey. You listen to any of the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, we're gonna discuss this after
Hell yeah.
the episode's
Hell
over
yeah.
with. So speaking of the episode, we might as well get into it. We're 11 minutes in, and this is gonna be a freaking meaty episode. So we might as well just start early and get into it.
Meaty, but not pork.
I was gonna say
Yeah, it's definitely halal.
the episode's gonna last longer than the conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
The
Yep.
episode will be some percentage of the conflict duration.
The numbers in this are kind of hilarious.
Also, I just made a halal joke and nobody said anything about it.
I mean, I laugh.
I don't know anything about it.
Fair enough. Anyways, yeah. So this one, like, since there's 5 of us, we usually try to rotate through our lists because we have various and a lot of lists of a lot of episodes we need to cover. But this one, again, since it's mostly very topical with what's going on in the world right now, Ben decided to bring this one up. So there.
I was staring at your computer for the longest time, trying to figure out where that web browser was going.
Well, you didn't tell us what you were doing either.
I'm just sitting here.
I told you I had a way to introduce the idea.
And I'm sitting there staring at the title of it, and I'm like, one, why does he have YouTube up? Is he gonna play a song? And like, just all of these things didn't disappoint.
Thank you.
Like, I'd say I want to go home, but I'm already here. So
Oh God, yeah, we're talking about the 6-Day War.
yeah, the 6-Day War.
The 6-Day War.
This is the aptly named one. I actually appreciate this one because then you have like ones that are like the 1,000-year war, and it was
There was
like,
100 Years War, but yes.
Yeah,
yeah, and no, this one was actually
the
60.
30 Years War is the bad one, I think.
Yeah, because 100 Years of War actually did last
Yeah, I
hundreds of
think the
years.
30-year war is 27 years of war.
Oh, they rounded up the fucking bastards.
I think you always round up, but
They didn't.
True. I think
They
it was
could have gone for the
27.
1 week war, and they didn't.
if you're gonna
6
round,
days.
you round up.
Oh man! All right, so 6 Days War. This is again a very very meaty topic. So I'm gonna start off with what happened before this. So we've kind of briefly, sort of, kind of touched on this. Actually, I mean I didn't go back this far in my notes, but just the Treaty of Versailles kind of starts this bullshit. Because obviously, what happened during World War One. This is what the aftermath of World War II started, though. Taken in 1948, the Arab-Israeli War. Gonna start off there because we're gonna need to. So, this war took place, as I said before, in 1948, right after World War II ended. The Israeli peoples were at war at the time with the Arab forces from Egypt, Transjordan at the time, which became Jordan, obviously, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. What happened was May. Sorry,
Which were all also freshly made.
These are all
a
new
decade
countries.
or two prior.
right.
Borders established. Everyone got pissed.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah. It was again. It was the Treaty of Versailles, World War I, and then World War II. All of
Sykes-Picot.
and the Sykes-Picot. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Along with World War One and all that.
right. All of this this fucking mess with people giving away other people's land that they had no bearing on in the first place. Anyways,
British and the French.
the British and the I'm gonna get in there. Fucking
Break your foot off in it.
dude, because I want to talk about Algeria at some point, and that just gets me heated every time I think about it.
They did handle this better than I would have. I would have just been like, all right, guys, you have a month. Claim whatever you can claim, and in 1 month, we're stopping it.
So many people would die.
So the
Wherever the borders lay or where they lay,
So the purge.
Literally,
figure it out.
you tried to sell us on
However-
slavery before. Now you're trying to sell us on a fucking purge.
Hey, this would be done and over within a month. Whatever happens, happens. After a month, everybody shuts up and we move on.
We need a name for this, like democratic Darwinism or something.
Hey, it wouldn't have resulted in like 24 more wars.
It
That we
still
know
would've.
of.
Yeah, they're probably that butterfly effect shit. Come on, man. Anyways,
This would have been done and over.
I'm gonna keep going now. Okay.
I'm a
All right.
solutions man.
So as I said, this war started on May 15th of 1948. I mentioned the parties already. This started after because of Ben's favorite people, the UN, United Nations.
That's the first thing they did. That's the first. It was the first thing they did. Was a half measure.
It was. So the plan was called the United Nations Partition Plan. I'm not going to there's a lot into this. I'm going to go a very, very high level, high overview of this. So
We could put that on the list itself.
it is. Yeah. So
We need to do just an episode of the UN just so Ben's screaming. The
That's
entirety
been
of-
on the list.
that's just UN and their
Just UN.
consistent fuck
Fucking
ups.
Rwanda, Yugoslavia. Fuck, you see, it's happening right now.
I'm going to keep going now.
Somalia.
Yep. All right. So November 29th of 1947, the UN passed the United Nations Partition Plan. This was to partition Palestine into Arab and Jewish states.
Yeah.
So they were trying to separate the two.
Palestine being a former British mandate.
Yes. They were trying to make it. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I like how they divided it into just two groups. Like that's it. That's
Two groups that
there's
hate
just-
each other.
There's just two. Just two. No further divisions from those two.
But that's how it. That's how it is in England. You have them, and you have the Irish. So they're used to it being just two options, two flavors.
You know
Yeah,
how
it's
they,
like France.
It's
You
not
have the
Baskin
French and then
Robbins.
everybody else.
you know how on the like the demographic sheets, like they'll ask like what ethnicity you are, and then there's another category. It's like, are you white or Hispanic and non-white?
No, it's the same with the gun form.
It's the same with like the English. It's just are you us or other?
This isn't Baskin and Robbins. It's Baskin or Robbins.
Pretty much. So this was a split up. This also split Jerusalem, by the way. So obviously this causes more issues, but they split Jerusalem as a corpus separatum, which Latin just translates roughly to a separate entity that was also supposed to be governed by an international regime. So they were trying to keep Jerusalem open for everybody, kind of like they did with the Crusades, and then they didn't. Anywho, so which is a whole nother topic that we can cover. So
That'll be a long week.
oh fuck, man, I had to take a whole college course just on the Crusades.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be fun.
Like, oh, yeah,
it's gonna be long.
My favorite professor taught that class.
Yeah,
It was
no,
good stuff.
it'll be a great time. It's just gonna be long.
Yeah, a lot of it. So, anyways, where was that here? Oh yeah, so this was considered by the Jewish community in Palestine to be the legal basis to establish the country of Israel, pretty much. So Palestine, like you had mentioned, had been governed by the British since 1922, which we kind of briefly mentioned before. I said, so with the rise of the Jewish immigration to the region, well, for obvious reasons, in World War II, go back to that, and there were other reasons too, but Holy Land and all that stuff. Anyways, so the rise of Jewish immigration to the region caused tensions between all the groups. Again, the other group being the Arabs. And so in April of 1947, Britain had made plans to withdraw. So this is kind of the beginning of that whole age, and we kind of briefly talked about this before in other episodes, about where all these empires were starting to abandon their colonies. This is one of them, where they're like, well, I think they can self-govern themselves, right?
A mixture of that, and we're running out of money, guys.
Well, and actually, I was going to get to that too, because after World War II, they didn't have much. No, they didn't have enough money or just resources in general.
Yeah, people, infrastructure, resources,
anything to keep these colonies up.
Everybody was sleeping in the subway.
Yeah,
we're tunnel people now,
or as they call it, the tube.
Yeah, the tube, or the underground,
Yeah.
Both are bad.
I like the underground. It sounds metal.
It sounds like you're up to something, not public transportation. Like, I'm going to the underground. You're being very cavalier with this secret information, sir.
Yep. So, so as Britain was withdrawing from Palestine, and they didn't want to deal with this shit. They're like, okay, like we got a lot of Jewish immigrants. We have the Arabs that live here currently. They don't like each other. We're leaving. We don't want to deal with this shit. So what are we gonna do? They deferred the issue to the UN. Ben's favorite people.
It's just such a bad move.
And it was, because right after the
defer to the committee of committees.
Yeah.
God, I hate them.
So what ended up happening was, right after the British forces pulled out, the war started. Literally right after that. So as you had already mentioned, these countries the Transjordan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, most of those countries are still new. What they ended up doing was, right after the British forces withdrew, they all invaded. Good times. So Palestine was fighting with all the people I mentioned before. This went on for a bit, and then a bunch of armistices were signed. Again, there's a lot I'm kind of glancing over, but just to keep the ball rolling and not too detail heavy. There were a bunch of armistices that were signed to essentially establish the borders. So this is where the border of Israel and Palestine was first started to be established. The borders of West Bank, Gaza Strip, again, things that we're actively hearing about right now in the news, were at the time occupied by the Jordanian and Egyptian forces. These borders were then established because of further treaties. Israel and Iraq did not sign the treaty during this time, which I found to be interesting. They didn't share a border, but they're like, I don't care that you're still all the way over there. Fuck you still, essentially. So they never signed a treaty, and well, they did sign an agreement eventually, but at this time they did not.
Something that interests me, like even today, is Israel will get in a hissy fit if these countries don't sign the treaties. They're like, oh, Iran won't let people in to go view their nuclear program. Israel also hasn't agreed to this treaty, nor will let anybody look at their nuclear program.
Yeah, they also have a really bad habit of signing a treaty and then bombing you right after it.
Yeah, that treaties mean fucking
fuck
shit.
all to these people. So, yeah, good old, yep. Just trying not to put my opinions in the episode. Anyways, I'm just stating fact, though. That was just fact. I mean, like, yeah, we're all signing armistice. Bomb. Fucking dicks.
Where'd I put the pen again? Right next to the button.
I'm like, oh no, whatever shall I do?
Why are you hitting it repeatedly?
Exactly.
I'm ordering more pens. It's an easy button.
I'm ordering more pagers. Anywho.
That's still my favorite part of the last year. Look, 1998 called me. Bam!
All right, moving forward in time to 1956, the Suez Crisis. Again, I'm just going to what leads up to this to the 6th day. So 6 Day Crisis. The 1956 Suez Crisis. This was between Israeli, British, the Israeli forces, British forces, and French versus Egypt. Good old Egypt in the 50s. This almost kicked off the Cold War. Because, I mean, there's never enough things that can almost kick off the Cold War.
There's a lot of flashpoints.
There's so many. So what was going on here is this kicked off because of the nationalization of the Suez Canal by the Egyptian leader, General Nasser, in July of 1956. So going back to the 2 years prior of that, in 1954, the Egypt's military was pushing for Britain to end their military presence in the Suez Canal. There's a whole other story as to why that's important. Glancing over that because trying to keep this moving.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot. The Suez Canal itself could be its own episode. So this also came. The reason why the British military was in the Suez Canal at the time came from the Anglo-Egyptian Treaty back in 1936. So they've been there for quite some time. Egypt's army at the time was also in the middle of scrimmaging at the border too. So they between them and the border of, I think at the time the border forces were the Israelis. They were poking at a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. It was the border of the Suez Canal they were poking at with scrimmages. So,
it should have been.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got my maps a little messed up there. Geography was never my strong suit. So, anyways,
when it changes so frequently in a century,
it changed a lot. The British were in the Suez Canal still. General Nasser also really openly, publicly hated the Zionists, which at the time were, well, maybe not really. Anyways, we're at this point in history, we're in the majority of people in Israel. So not only did he hate the British, he probably hated the French too, because why not? He also hated the Israelis and he hated the Zionists that were there. So to add fuel to this fire, the Soviet Union was backing Egypt not only with finances but with arms. So
good old Cold War money.
Yeah, that Cold War money, man. They were throwing that shit around everywhere.
That's why they couldn't eat.
Yeah, I was gonna make that joke. You stopped me like mid breath of making a joke about them not being able to eat.
Why give them food when they're expendable?
It was our joke.
Thanks.
See what I did there?
It's the people's joke.
It's a people's joke.
That is funny, comrade. I'll tell Stalin. Oh, man. So,
I hope he's rotting in hell.
I hope he is too. That stupid ass mustache. Okay, so yes, as I mentioned, the Soviets were at the time backing Egypt. And also, I forgot about this part too, that Egypt had beef with a lot of people. And another part of that was they had beef with America. Because at the time, America actually had promised aid to Egypt, and they didn't give it. Good job, guys. So, America was at the time supposed to have funded a dam to be built on the Nile. The Aswan Dam was supposed to be built with American money, and they didn't do it. So, yep. So
I think we were occupied a little bit at the end of the 60s.
It was Cold War money. We had a lot of it.
Yes.
They could have funded this shit. I don't know why they didn't. I didn't look into it.
If the Soviet money was already there,
right, and we didn't try to outspend the Soviets, that's crazy.
I mean, it might be the reason.
This is 67. Vietnam was happening.
2 years from landing on the moon, we were still spending money.
Yeah, we were spending money everywhere.
Except for in Egypt, apparently. So,
pick your priorities.
So, I mean, Nasser had ordered the Suez Canal to be seized and then nationalized. So he was at that point telling his troops, "Hey, we're taking this shit. Fuck everybody else." That's the end of the story. So the British who were there asked the French again for help. It's like, "Hey, remember that one time there was that war with the other dude with the funny mustache? We calling that back, dude. Like, we need your help." So the French then got involved because they at the time thought that General Nasser had been supporting the rebels in Algeria. I don't know if he was or not. I hope he gave them more. Fuck the French in Algeria. In college, we had a class on the history of terrorism. A wonderful class. I learned a lot. In that class, we learned about what happened in Algeria with the French. I have never felt so bad at the French. That was the first day I realized. I'm like, you know what? They're the problem. And they were. So, anyways, the rebellion in Algeria, that's its own topic. I didn't write too much out about it because I really don't want to, because I would go full Ben on it, and nobody needs that. Nobody needs two Bens on a podcast.
I don't know about that. That sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Ben would listen to it.
I would.
He probably would.
Enthusiastically.
So this was actually, if listeners, if you guys want to know more about this, obviously there's the internet, but there is a book that I recommend, A Savage War of Peace in Algeria, 1954 to 1962. Great book. I think I own it still if you guys ever want to borrow it. But yeah, it's a fantastic book that tells us the story.
Were you just offering the viewers?
I was actually pointing at you guys when I said it.
Oh, wait, all fucking 300 of you shared the book.
I was switching tabs. What did I miss?
Oh God, I was saying if you guys wanted to borrow my book, you could the Savage War of Peace in Algeria.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's downstairs somewhere.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I lost a lot of books through several moves, but I'm pretty sure I still got that one. But yeah, it's just a book that covers what was going on in Algeria at the time, and again explains my rage at the French for what they did there. So the French wanted to get involved because they thought that General Nasir was supporting the rebels that were at the time fighting with the French. At the same time, so a lot of people were pretty much just mad at Egypt at this point. So you had again the Cold War scare that was going on right there. You had them wanting to take the Suez Canal, so Britain was involved. The stuff with Algeria, so France was involved, and Israel was there because he hated their people. But there was more to it. Obviously, I'm giving a very large overview of this. So what ended up happening was Israel ended up joining their alliance. Israel attacked first. Han shot first.
Mm-hmm.
So did Israel. So Israel attacked first. Their plan was to have
I was saying how Star Wars has a better soundtrack.
Yep. So Israel attacked first. The plan was to have Egypt, or I'm sorry. Israel attacked first. The plan was to have England and France back them up in this initial advance. They weren't there yet. So Israel just kind of attacked and expected people to have their back. That didn't happen. The UN gets involved because, of course, they do. And this is when they called for a ceasefire. This was, again, because at the time, Cold War is starting to heat up. The UN saw this as an issue. They wanted to call for a ceasefire, which actually did happen. The Soviet Union did say that if a war were to break out between Egypt and the forces I mentioned earlier, so Israel, Britain, and France, if a war were to break out, the Soviet Union did say that they would come to Egypt's aid. So obviously, the UN was like, dudes, get your knot. And then also America had stepped in to tell France and Britain to withdraw their troops. Because I'm pretty sure at the time America was just tired of saving France and Britain's ass. Mm-hmm. So especially when it has nothing to do with our land. So, there's that. So they end up coming to a ceasefire. This conflict actually did end in late 1956, early 1957. So everybody went home essentially on this one.
It's just dawning on me that the Cuban Missile Crisis hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, this is before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cold War was...
It was fresh.
Tenuous.
Yeah, it was fresh, but yeah, the Cuban Missile Crisis hadn't even happened yet.
Steamy indeed.
Not cold.
At least lukewarm. So yeah, those are my two stories. Okay.
Are you just gonna keep this like...
It makes me happy.
As long as you're happy, man. All right, so that's all I have to say about the thing. These are the two of the larger incidents that happened leading up to the 6-Day War. So I have set the stage. Ben, John, you guys have at it. I'm going to drink some water. You got it.
How far back are you going?
Well, I brought my stuff up to May 1967 with the Soviet misinformation.
Okay, that's where I was going to start.
Coin toss.
Well,
Okay.
I just like that this started off with a troll. Like all these people hated each other. The Soviets kind of seemed like they were pissed that a war didn't start.
What?
They were like, "Oh, well, this is lame. Fuck this shit." And so they literally just text Egypt and like, "Hey, what's up? Israel's going to attack you."
If there's no
Send.
war, then
Bye.
if there's no war, then everybody here knows how bad they have it. Kill each other.
There is no war in Bossing Say. It's fine. That was a highbrow joke for my nerds that listen to this podcast. Thank
I
you.
enjoyed that.
Fantastic.
But like, because there's a lot of misinformation that will continue to happen, but all of it seems like intentionally people trying to dig themselves out and like get allies or resources. Russia had nothing to gain from this other than like, we're bored.
For funsies.
Well, land. I mean,
Well,
ultimately, it's always land with
Like,
the Soviets.
That's land and influence.
Yeah, well,
A
that's
lot
what I
of-
mean. Like, the
Yeah.
sphere of influence gets bigger.
The Iron Curtain. So they need to draw the Iron Curtain bigger so we can't see their starving people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in May, Soviets text that over to the Egyptians. The Egyptians are like, "Oh hell nah," and fucking start amassing their troops.
Did you say texted?
Texted? Yeah,
Or okay.
Okay.
I said texted.
I,
I'm trying to keep it topical so our younger listeners can relate.
keep it accurate.
No.
God damn it, dude.
God almighty.
So the Egyptians,
Yes.
who have been very openly anti-Israel, start amassing their forces.
Yes, as they've communicated on their fucking anachronistic Blackberries. I'm not mad. Anyway,
Anyways,
That's my line.
so they
you have anywho.
Anywho, you're right. My bad.
they start amassing their forces. The Israelis see the same thing. And the other part where the UN gets involved in this is Egypt is very much trying to kind of like show strength. And so they're amassing their forces. And Egyptian general is like, man, I'd fuck these Israelis up, but the UN's right there. UN, you need to leave. And he's expecting them to be like, no, we're going to stay here and do peacekeeping. UN says,
They did what they're best at.
They're like-
They left.
they're like, oh, you would like us to step out of the way so you can conduct this war? Okay.
Their blue helmets returned to the blue sea from whence they came.
And they
The cowards.
They fucking left.
And by the way, you mentioned our younger listeners. I just had to look it up real quick. The majority of our listeners are between 35 and 59. Like they make up like, let me see, that's about 88% of our listeners.
Because we don't adhere to the younger. They don't understand Ben's telegraphs or fucking xylophones or whatever the fuck they are.
Okay,
You still listen on a wax
Okay,
cylinder.
so build up in the Sinai, you fuck.
there we go.
Say yes, Egypt built up in the Sinai and telegraph. Anyway,
It's going great.
Egypt builds up in the Sinai, like I think
texting my mom.
you're alluding to. And where'd I go? Two defensive lines within the Sinai Peninsula along Israel's border commencing on May 16th. On May 19th, the UN starts pulling out.
Caliente. Nothing. It's a pull-out joke.
Egypt ordered the immediate withdrawal of UNEF personnel.
Just the disappointment that I feel right now. We're gonna get through this topic, I swear.
I swear to God, who had been stationed in Gaza and Sinai since the 1956 Suez conflict, subsequently taking over their positions at Sharm el Sheikh. Closure of the Straits of Tiran, not to be confused with Tehran, but Tiran. Between May 22nd and 23rd, Nasser announced the closure of the Straits of Tiran to all Israeli flagged vessels and to all vessels carrying strategic materials destined for Israel. Israel had consistently declared since 1957 that any closure of these straits would be considered a casus belli, or an act of war, justifying a military response. This action, combined with the significant troop buildup in the Sinai, and the expulsion of the UN peacekeepers created an undeniable sense of encirclement and existential threat for Israel. The closure was not merely symbolic, it constituted a blockade of a vital shipping route to Eilat, Israel's sole Red Sea port. And if you can think of the map, they got one to the south and they have their entire western seaboard, or whatever you would call it, their coast. The direct threat to Israel's economic and strategic access, coupled with the military preparations, compelled Israel to consider a military response as almost inevitable from its strategic perspective. Surrounded on all sides other than water. John, did you have anything to add?
Bitches.
The level of disappointment.
No, I mean, like, so
The next thing I have is the defense pacts between the Arab states.
the term preemptive self-defense gets tossed around a lot today with the current ongoing actions between Israel and Iran. And I think it's total bullshit. In this instance, I can kind of see why they're getting a little antsy.
Well, I think also most leaders nowadays are just bitches.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bunch of old men talking, young men dying.
So this is very much a situation in which a lot of people didn't like each other, and they were going to make sure the other person knew about it. And eventually, it came to, hey, you're drawing a line in the sand, and this fight was going to happen.
Well, and also, I mean, I don't think that we can understate that coming after World War II, an entire Jewish state and what had preceded it in history, that had to amount to some of this.
Yeah.
Some of the fuck around and find out attitude. That was going to go forward. So yeah, Arab defense pacts on May 30th, Jordan and Egypt formalized a defense pact. The following day, at Jordan's invitation, the Iraqi army began deploying troops and armored units in Jordan, which were later reinforced by an Egyptian contingent. The rapid formation of these Arab defense pacts created an unified, albeit ultimately militarily uncoordinated, front against Israel. This amplified the perception of an impending large-scale Arab attack, solidifying the regional alignment and significantly increasing the stakes for all the parties involved. The signing of the mutual defense agreements meant that an attack on one would trigger a response from the other, presenting Israel with a multi-front threat and necessitating a broader military strategy, which I love because they went back to Napoleon to fight this war. Yeah, like, we're going to fight here, defend behind us, and when they weaken here, turn around and let them have it.
Yeah. And I forgot where I saw it, but Egypt it wasn't just like if Israel messes with us, we're going to fight them. Egypt was literally saying, we are going to war with Israel.
Egypt was foaming at the mouth.
Yeah. And Egypt was very much like, all parties were looking at it for a reason to fight, and they were saying, hey, if you do this, then we're going to do that. Egypt was just openly, we will go to war with you. Yeah. Very, very soon.
There's a reason that in all your reading, you read about Egypt's leader by name, but you don't really read about Jordan's or Syria's.
Yeah.
There's a reason. There was a front runner to all, to all of this. On June 1st, Israel formed a national unity government by expanding its cabinet. This move, which notably brought General, forgive me, I didn't hear this, I read it, Moshe Dayan into the position of Minister of Defense, indicated a broad consensus within the Israeli leadership regarding the severity of the perceived threat and the necessity of military action. This internal political consolidation was a direct response to the escalating external threats and served as a clear precursor to the preemptive strike, signaling Israel's unified readiness to act. On June 4th, the decision was formally made to go to war. Okay?
No.
Oh, okay.
That pretty much starts into June 5th, which is the first day of actual conflict.
Yes, 1967 again.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And this starts off with Operation Focus by the Israelis.
They did have some great names.
So Israel when you looked at the overall forces, Israel was outmanned, out-tanked, out-aircraft.
Out everything.
Is they were not leading in the numbers game whatsoever.
They had the most bread.
Some say it might have been unleavened. Non-rising ass.
And I think one of the interesting things is they started this off. One of the things they had been practicing is how quickly they could turn around an aircraft. And they had gotten it down to 8 minutes.
Okay.
So they could, between the time of an aircraft coming in, landing, refueling, rearming operations, and taking back off, was 8 minutes.
Yeah,
It's freaking NASCAR pit crew.
They NASCAR'd it.
Yeah.
And
Which is hilarious to think about some redneck Israelis in the middle of the desert.
well,
Just let that,
and
and Southern Yiddish.
It's good that I'm not an artist because the art I would draw.
It's not even the visual. I'm thinking of the audio of it.
Oh, both are in my head. Yeah. Like, there's only one I can actually do.
Yeah, Yo Bango Dango, but with curls.
and time to target was often about 20 minutes.
Okay.
So in a long range capacity. So within an hour, these pilots were flying out, hitting targets, and they were back on the tarmac. And Israel was like, hey, if we really just like pressed hard for one day, we think we can instantaneously set the tone for the war and establish air dominance. And they did that.
Surprise.
So they start off the morning just completely. They aimed for airfields, aircraft.
7:45 in the morning. The bastards.
Yeah, 7:45 in the morning. They fucking roll out. They target any airfield, any aircraft, and by 12, they had air dominance over the entire arena.
Yeah,
they effectively wiped out. I think it was Jordan and Syria's Air Force, and then the Egyptians had lost like a dozen airfields.
Yeah.
And when the war started, I believe opposing aircraft, they were looking at like 900, and I think the Israelis had about 300. In that first 5 hours, they had knocked out 300 aircraft.
Israel destroyed over 300 Egyptian aircraft in 3 hours.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
They lost 19.
That's very impressive.
Only 3 were due
Yeah.
to combat action.
That was the thing I saw.
Okay.
If you're fucking pit crewing in 8 minutes, I'm sure a couple of them.
Right. I wasn't.
There were a couple nuts that weren't
Right. A couple rivets that weren't riveted.
Yeah, right. You know,
It's 1967 fighter aircraft. I mean,
Right. They just got jets. Like.
right.
they basically operated off the principle of put fire behind this aircraft and it goes fast.
Also, they're doing all of this in the desert and over salt water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those
So,
engines had to be all fucked up.
Yeah, like there's a lot of room to fail here.
So-
Mechanical failure.
Yeah.
So by noon, they
Lunch.
have air superiority
Oh, yeah.
over
See, I'm loving bread again.
and this came as a complete surprise to all the other players. So I guess they did a little bit of preemptive like psyops. So they had their newspapers post up things about how the source I read was like the entire Israeli military force is taking a vacation this day.
Yeah, I did see that. I didn't write it down though.
Yep. They said like, yep, everyone's on vacation. And so the Egyptians had essentially turned off their air defenses, and the Egyptians were not prepared for the attack whatsoever. They were completely blindsided.
Well, that is the point of preemptive.
And they fucking got it. So they follow this up with their ground attacks. And because the Air Force had essentially wiped out all other aircraft and any other player's ability to fight their Air Force, they were able to effectively switch all of their aircraft from air to ground combat.
And air support.
Yeah. And CAS, close air support. And so any fight that goes on for the next 6 days immediately was responded to by Israeli aircraft bombing the ever-loving shit out of them. And again, you had a maybe 4-minute window to where that, or like 30-minute window to where that aircraft was going to be back and rearmed, shooting at you again.
Just having a bad day, really. I mean, air support wins wars. I mean, that's was proven by World War II. So
Yeah.
And so on June 5th, you had what you're talking about, Battle of Rafah and Khan Yunis. Israeli forces overwhelmed Egyptian defenses. That was the ground assault. And then Battle of Abu Agala. Key Egyptian position falls to Sharon's coordinated assault. And this is after all the whatchamacallit, air fighting. Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula ground defense during at 7:50 a.m. So 7:45 the air war begins.
it's too early in the day, man.
7:50 after a 4-minute smoke break. The northernmost Israeli division, commanded by Major General Israel Tal, crossed the border and advanced rapidly towards the Rafah Gap, an 11-kilometer stretch of formidable Egyptian defenses. Despite initial light resistance, the lead battalion faced intense fire and heavy casualties as it engaged entrenched Egyptian positions. Israeli forces cleared resistance and reached the Khan Yunis railway junction within 4 hours. So what, an hour longer than it took to take out the air defenses? Further advances toward Rafah and Sheikh Zayed encountered fierce Egyptian resistance, necessitating significant air and artillery support. But by nightfall, Israeli forces had largely cleared the area. Abu Agala, mid-front. So that was the northern. This is mid-front. To the south, Major General Ariel Sharon's 38th Armored Division assaulted Katef, a heavily fortified area defended by the Egyptian 2nd Infantry Division. Israeli armored brigades outflanked the Egyptians by traversing undefended sandy wastes. Sharon's tanks engaged Egyptian forces, blocking reinforcements, while infantry cleared trenches and heliborne paratroopers, going back to they could do it. I should have turned to look at you. There we go. Silenced artillery. After facing heavy shelling and extensive minefields, Israeli units were in position by dusk. At 10 p.m., a concentrated artillery barrage of 6,000 shells in under 20 minutes preceded tank and infantry assaults with paratroopers destroying artillery and ammunition dumps from behind Egyptian lines. 6,000 shells in 20 minutes.
It's 300 shells a minute.
Other Israeli forces, the 8th Armored Brigade captured fortified bunkers at Kantilla by nightfall in the Gaza Strip. The 11th Mechanized Brigade faced heavy artillery and fierce resistance from Palestinian positions. After Palestinian positions opened fire on Negev settlements. By sunset, Israelis secured the Al-Montar ridge overlooking Gaza City, but were repelled from the city itself. And then the West Bank. Initial attack again, 9:30 a.m. Intermittent machine gun exchanges.
It's just funny hearing all 2 hours into the conflict. Egypt has consistently gotten their ass kicked, and all major fronts are fucked
up.
When you were talking about the artillery positions, about how the Israeli airborne, they were supposed to be like weakening defenses. What I heard was by the time that the main effort arrived to the positions, the fucking defensive positions were basically just graves of the things the Israeli forces had already murdered.
It's like when I kept thinking
it is 9:30 in the morning.
It's early in the morning for that bullshit.
I kept thinking of Band of Brothers when Winter's platoon during training in England, when Winter's platoon makes it to that intersection and what's his face from Friends is lost.
Yeah.
And they finally get there and everything, but they're all set up and whatnot. That was the image I kept having throughout a lot of this.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And at 10 a.m., the Jordanian army commenced shelling Israeli targets, including Tel Aviv suburbs, Ramat David Air Base and Israeli Jerusalem, where 6,000 shells targeted military installations, the prime minister's residence, and Knesset. I'm not quite sure if the K is silent. Israeli Prime Minister Eshkol's message to King Hussein, promising no action if Jordan remained out of the war, was rejected by Hussein, who stated it was, quote, too late, end quote. It was 10 a.m.
So
Obviously.
so the geography of this also comes into play. So tactics wise, people are still kind of tied into the World War II style of defense in depth tactics. Israel does not have that option of at the thinnest of their territory, because it's kind of like an hourglass shape.
They
At
have
the
a bottleneck.
thinnest, the bottleneck is 8 miles across.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for forces, essentially anywhere within their controlled territory can be shelled from units outside of their territory. And so a lot of what drove this preemptive attack was, hey, they're amassing forces and they can just clean sweep the entire territory in a day. And so again, when we talk about preemptive self-defense, I think it was justified in this conflict of war was definitely going to break out. You had one country at least saying, we're going to war. Here's your warning message. And so it really, they either get attacked or do the attacking, and they chose the latter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna weigh in opinion wise on it, but yeah, that's a strategy.
Violence is a strategy and can get you out of I think given the situation on June 4th, if you told me, hey, this is the situation, if fighting's going to happen, I'm bringing the fight to them.
Well, I mean, from a tactical standpoint, it's sound. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was a great pass too. For those listening to the podcast that haven't seen the video, that aren't watching the video of this, John just stared at Ben longingly. So
I could detect it was switching back to me, and
he was taken aback.
in a hurry, trying to find where I left off, and then it happened
So
early.
Israel did try, their main focus on day one is they tried to go for the tactic of fighting one country, then the other, then the other. So what we see in the first of this 6-day conflict is, for the first several days, their entire focus is on Egypt. They see Egypt as the major player in the conflict, and they see them as kind of the instigator, so they focused all of their attention on them.
And they were correct to.
They were correct
It
to.
was a good move.
And yeah, so they focus all their attention on them. So for the first several days of this conflict, pretty much everybody else is kind of standing fast. There is some small actions that are going on, but pretty much all of their attention is focused on Egypt.
And yeah, because even in these other attacks or these other battles, where did I leave? Oh yeah, so around midday, Iraqi Hawker hunters attacked Kafar Sirkin airfield, and Jordanian hunters struck a factory in Netanya. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, shortly before 12:30 p.m., the IAF retaliated, attacking Jordan's 2 air bases and destroying all 21 of its Hawker Hunter fighters.
Yeah, literally 2 of the 4 countries lost their entire air force in the first day, because their entire air force was like a couple dozen aircraft that didn't leave the ground.
Yeah.
Along with transport aircraft and helicopters, Israeli Bators also attacked Iraq's H Street airfield, destroying several aircraft, damaging the runway. The Jordanian radar facility in Al Jun was also destroyed, and the Israeli Fauga Magister jets inflicted heavy losses on the Jordanian 40th Brigade. Just going to town.
Yeah, again, all of their aircraft were essentially flying out, hitting sorties, and immediately coming back, refuel, rearm, and they were just swapping pilots out for the entire first day, and
Yeah.
it paid off.
And then
Yeah, for sure.
wrapping up, at least for my notes, wrapping up the first day, West Bank initial infiltration. Approximately 600 Egyptian commandos attempting to attack Israeli airfields in the West Bank were detected, with 450 being killed. It's a terrible ratio.
It really is.
Egypt did respond on the first day with aircraft from outside of the peninsula area. However, they went and they did their sorties. Most of them got shot the fuck down because they had no idea what was going on. But the ones that survived came back and tried to land at other airfields, only to find that they had been entirely fucking cratered. And so every aircraft that Egypt launched was either shot down or had to eject and bail out because there was nowhere to land the thing. So they're doing great.
That's insane.
Then we are 1/6 of the way through this conflict, day 2, and surprisingly, that was not Egypt's worst day. It gets worse,
Indubitably. So I gotta be selective with my notes here. I got 12 pages of notes. I got a lot.
See, I can't do that. I gotta go bullet points.
Yeah, dude. Bullet
these
points.
are bullet points.
Okay.
Jesus,
Like they're bullet points.
with paragraphs on each bullet.
Yes, I like information.
A bullet point. That's just
That's a paragraph that you just put a bullet point in front of.
There's
a bullet point is a sentence.
A bullet point is a bullet point is a bullet point.
Okay.
bullet points don't end with periods. That's sentence 4.
And exactly, yeah. Bullet points also don't end in periods.
I present you bullet point.
I'm gonna present you with your damn high school education. Fucking public school ruined you. Jeez.
So
They got me this far.
I have to review annual evaluations, and for most of them, like they have to put it in bullet point format.
Oh my god, Jen is sweating so fucking bad.
It's fucking hot up here.
It's warm.
I'm actually very comfortable. I'm also wearing short shorts again.
It does help.
See these thighs?
I do.
I am breathing over here.
And so,
Just bring shorts and leave them at my house, and I will launder them every podcast.
and so like I've got
Launder.
I love that term.
It's such a good word.
and so I've definitely gotten mad at people. I'm like, bullet points do not end in periods. They are short little blurbs.
It's a little note.
Little note.
Yep, should be.
They do now.
Honestly, it shouldn't be more than a sentence in length, honestly. Like a bullet point should just be a little.
That one bullet point is 7 lines long.
That hurt a lot to hear. Get it together.
You're welcome.
Do better outlines.
You're
Right?
welcome.
Yeah, because it's just supposed to be an outline of the topic. Like you learn the topic, then you outline it so then you can regurgitate what you remember with bullet points.
This is with information removed.
Day 2.
Okay, day 2, man. Let's get this rig rolling because we're already at an hour. So
Jeez. Oh man. Okay. Day 2. Advance on Arish and Gaza City. Israeli forces continued their advance, and really, I mean, day 1 is the one I really wanted to talk about anyway, because that's the impressive numbers one. But anyway, moving forward, advance towards Arish, encountering fierce resistance in the Jarati Defile. I think I might have made a typo there.
just do you're Girardi defile.
Yeah. Anyway,
Good job.
do you have the correction?
No, I was
by
making
chance?
fun of the name.
No, I know you
Oh,
were,
I'm
but
sorry.
I was wondering if do you.
I was acknowledging his joke.
I think I leaned on the keyboard at that point. Anyway,
Sure.
yeah, something happened somewhere.
I'll defile something.
By late afternoon, they reached the city's outskirts, reinforced the 7th Brigade. Arish and its airports were captured after fierce street fighting. The following morning, Gaza City and the entire strip were taken by the 35th Paratroopers Brigade, with fighting accounting for nearly half of all Israeli casualties on the southern front. Egyptian retreat order. 2 Israeli reserve brigades under Yof. Again, I apologize. I read it. I didn't hear it.
Sure.
Penetrated the Sinai, capturing key road junctions. Crucially, upon learning of the fall of Abu Agela, Egyptian Field Marshal Abdel Hakim Amr panicked and ordered all units in the Sinai to retreat, effectively conceding Egypt's defeat. President Nasser, informed of the devastating airstrike results, also ordered a general retreat from Sinai within 24 hours. The strategic blunder by the Egyptian command, driven by a rapid collapse of morale and effective communication, significantly accelerated the Israeli advance and the overall outcome of the conflict on the southern front.
There was another point I missed on touching as like prior to the conflict is the Egyptians had a plan for this war going into it. Their entire plan is they had forces all along the Sinai that were dug in and ready to conduct effective combat over flat open ground and would have ultimately cost the Israelis a lot of manpower to take Sinai. That didn't happen because the president was basically been like, I was talking a lot of shit, and it's hard to act like a badass if you're on the defense. So he said, "Fuck our defensive strategy, move them all closer to Israel," and that's when they were like amassing their forces outside of Israel, and
Along with the misinformation campaign.
along with the misinformation campaign. And then they got there, started having them dig in. They weren't ready. Israel comes through, bombs the shit out of them. They fall back, continuously getting bombed the shit out of. Then they get told, just do a general retreat back behind the Suez Canal, and are essentially just getting strafed by Israeli Air Force the entire time they're doing this.
They were having a bad day.
Sounds like
And
they're
then
having a
5
bad-
more.
and then a bad week.
They'll have an additional 2 more bad days. Between day 2 and day 3, they will lose 10,000 troops
Yes.
in this retreat.
Do you have the notes? 'Cause I'm happy to yield because I talked a lot with the last one.
Well, so essentially is when this retreat order came out, there was no guidance. There was no order of operations. 'Cause
to the canal.
that was a more detailed
I know.
description than what they got. They were just issued a general retreat. And so what happened is it was an unorganized fucking gaggle running back. And again, the Israelis who have free reign over the airspace are just strafing the shit out of them, which further decreases morale. So you have troops that aren't dug in, aren't well equipped, getting fucking shot at from the sky.
There's sand everywhere.
There's a lot of sand over there.
There is.
And essentially morale collapses. The other thing that's going on at this point, we talked on it, is the Jordanians did not start off doing well and have essentially started retreating already. So day 2, you have 2 out of the 4 major players in the Arab coalition, I'll call it, in full retreat. And basically they don't have an air force.
Yeah, it's a bad time.
So the Iraqis on day 2 in the West Bank, their Hawker hunters attacked targets near Nazareth and Haifa, and a Tupolev Tu-16 bombed a military installation, killing 2 Israeli soldiers before it got shot down. That was all it managed to do.
Well, at least it didn't get shut out, I guess. Never mind. It was a sports reference.
I was going to say, you made a sports
I made a
reference.
sports
to
reference.
Ben.
Sports bid. So,
Woo! Sports!
yep, that was on me.
And then I think you said it earlier, is Syria begins firing on Golan Heights, which they will later regret doing.
Oh, I didn't
so.
touch on that yet.
Oh, I thought somebody already said that.
No,
Syria,
please proceed, sir.
Syria begins basically shelling the Golan Heights area. So the Golan Heights, throughout the war, Syria had been funding like rebel groups, hitting infrastructure, terrorizing the people out there. And the Golan Heights is this massive plateau area. It's the high ground of, if you are up there, you have a killer viewpoint from any attacking force. So they begin shelling that area in order to try to take that from the Israelis. And I think
That's day 2 or day 3?
that was end of day 2, and then that's all I have on day 2.
So
So going into day 3.
I actually skipped right past it. Day 3. Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula. Let's see here. As Egyptian columns retreated across the Sinai, they were relentlessly attacked by Israeli aircraft and artillery, which employed napalm bombs. I forgot about that. They had a really bad day. Hundreds of vehicles were destroyed and heavy casualties inflicted. At Jabal Libni, retreating Egyptian soldiers were even fired upon by their own artillery. The Israeli High Command opted to bypass and destroy the remaining Egyptian forces in the mountainous passes of West Sinai. This aggressive pursuit and destruction of retreating forces underscored Israel's tactical superiority and the complete breakdown of Egyptian command and control. They captured Sharm el-Sheikh. Israel initiated its attack on Sharm el-Sheikh after aerial reconnaissance revealed reduced defenses. 3 Israeli missile boats opened fire on Egyptian shore batteries at approximately 4:30 a.m. What? It's always early.
Man, they don't respect your sleep schedule.
Wow.
In their defense, by noon, it's fucking hot as shit out.
That is true. This is
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
That's a good
That's
point.
really a point.
This is war over here is an early bird game.
Yeah.
Like we're doing it before 9 a.m. or not at all.
Agreed. All right.
I'm going to bed now. While paratroopers and commandos were airlifted for an assault, the city was largely abandoned, and after a pitched battle, it was captured at 12:15 p.m. Defense Minister Dayan, whatever, declared the Straits of Tiran an international waterway, signaling the successful achievement of a primary war objective. You got anything else?
For day 3, Jordan accepted a ceasefire. They're out of the game.
Makes sense.
At the bottom.
Essentially, at this point, Israel has pushed all the way to the Suez Canal. Egypt has been effectively removed from Cyan. Is it Cyan? Am I saying that right? What?
Yeah, so I've been wondering what you were trying to get at. Like, are you talking about the Sinai?
Sinai.
Sinai Peninsula.
Okay.
There we go.
Cyan's a
Like,
color.
every time you said it, I'm like, is he talking about the Sinai?
Well, you keep saying Sinai. That
Yeah.
was
How
what-
is it?
Yeah, that was
Sinai.
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 Like Mount Sinai, the hospital,
Yeah. Or like Mount Sinai from the Bible.
or that too.
That's where I was thinking of.
Well,
obviously,
Yeah,
but
you hear the advertisements for Mount Sinai.
Oh, I
You
just-
for the
I just think about I think straight back to church.
yeah. I mean that's fair too, but like you hear it all the time in
I know
advertisements.
none of the references you guys are making.
You didn't go up Baptist, and that's probably for the best. No offense to Baptists, it's fine. But anyways,
You don't want me there.
I've never seen your rhythm or lack thereof, so we'll see how that goes. Fair enough.
Not great.
All right.
Jerusalem is captured by the Israelis, so they now control the holy grounds. And again, with the Egyptians pushed out, on day 4, the Egyptians will accept a ceasefire, and that is essentially the end of their conflict. That is at the end. So the ceasefire for the Egyptians is in day 4. So we are 100 hours into this. The casualty count for the Egyptians at this point is 15,000 people in 100 hours. Damn.
Yeah, you'll have that when you side with Russia.
Yeah,
They're reporting back to the Soviets.
Or when you get your
the Soviets are like, what's the issue?
Like, yeah, but, like what? That's like that. We do that in like an hour.
or when you get your news from Russia.
Again, what's wrong with you? We get that in like an hour. Like, our people are eating each other right now. You're complaining about that?
Okay, oversimplified. Have I gone back in time?
No, you're
This
in
is
Russia.
And so what I love is we talk about the relatively light losses by the Israelis, and Egypt trying to save some sort of face in here is telling the other Arabian countries, they're like, yeah, we got our ass kicked, but we took a number of them with us, and they're selling to the other countries that 70% of Israel's air force is gone.
The sun was in our eyes.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Because up until now,
I
Israel
had sand in my collar.
has lost less than 10%.
Yeah.
Sure.
And most of that was non-combat.
I did write down on day 4. Israel completed the capture of the Sinai Peninsula, sending infantry units into Ras Sudar on the western coast. And Syria largely remained out of the conflict for the first 4 days, focusing on its own defense, largely. A notable incident on this day, though, was the USS Liberty incident. You wrote this down too?
Yep.
Where Israeli forces attacked an American intelligence ship, the USS Liberty. While the official explanation accepted by the U.S. was that it was a tragic accident, the event remains a point of historical contention.
Yep.
Yeah. So Israel has this lovely habit of shoot first, don't ask questions later, and just hope.
Well,
that
clearly there's nobody to ask questions to in most cases.
Yeah. Or
Right.
when people do, they just claim like ignorance
Yeah.
or whatever. Because Israel claims that there was no way for them to have identified this ship. The ship didn't identify. And then later it came out of like records of the U.S. like actively strobing out like, hey, we are a U.S. ship. And like
Oh,
repeatedly.
Israel doing shady shit? That's
Yeah.
not that never happens.
Israel would never do.
They don't do
shady
anything
shit
shady shit to people that they're shooting at.
for the next 6 decades.
Fucking
I would have to imagine there's got to be several distinctive differences between one of our ships and any of the ones over there.
lucky they didn't get the rest of the treatment.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Or,
you
like-
literally mess with America's boat, you get the sun. So
Now, like, I'm not saying there were no like large scale like naval battles, but I didn't read or hear about any in researching for this topic. So the only naval thing they see happen is like there's a fucking boat out there.
fucking shoot at it.
Fucking shoot at it because it.
Not in my line of sight.
They're just frothing at the mouth at this point.
Yeah, like there's a boat out there not in my line of sight. How dare you?
I've still got ammo.
The audacity.
It's like deer hunting or something. You still got tags.
Yeah.
The day ain't over.
Jeez.
So, end of day 4, Egypt agrees to a ceasefire. They are now out of conflict. So, we're down to Iraq and Syria.
Yeah.
Day 5.
Yep.
Despite Syria's announcement at 3 a.m. that it accepted a ceasefire, Moshe Dayan, Israel's defense minister, gave the order at 7 a.m. to launch an attack against Syria and the Golan Heights, reportedly without prior consultation or government authorization. I don't know if you wrote that down.
Yeah, I did. So, I've read from multiple places that this was without government authorization, but then there were also some of them that were like, oh, yeah, no, the government knew. So, whether or not the people conducting the assault on the Golan Heights knew about this or didn't know about it, I'm more inclined to believe that Syria did some shady shit and was like, meh, we're taking that because significance of it being a fortified area, being important, and from the harassment they've gotten from the Golan Heights of they very well may have known that Syria was out of the picture at this point and just been like, we're fucking taking that. Cause fuck it.
Yeah. So in the morning, again, Israeli jets conducted dozens of sorties against Syrian positions from Mount Hermon to Tawfiq, utilizing captured Egyptian rockets. These airstrikes effectively neutralized artillery batteries and storehouses, disrupted transport columns, and inflicted heavy casualties, significantly eroding Syrian morale, and also provided time for Israeli ground forces to clear paths through Syrian minefields. And the sustained bombardment was instrumental in softening Syrian defenses. Then you had the ground advance, Northern Front. Approximately 2 hours after the airstrikes began, the 8th Armored Brigade, led by Colonel Albert Mandler, advanced into the Golan Heights from Givat Haim. Their advance was spearheaded by engineering corps sappers and bulldozers, clearing barbed wire and mines, encountering heavy fire that disabled 5 bulldozers. Israeli tanks advanced slowly towards the fortified village of Sur al-Dib, aiming for the fortress of Atkala. The less letters there are, the harder it is, ironically.
Yeah, there's like no consonants or no vowels. It's like
Consonants.
yeah.
I heard what you heard.
Okay.
Simultaneous assaults in Zaura and Kala led to heavy and confused fighting. Israeli jets destroyed 2 Syrian tanks, and the remaining defenders of Kala retreated after their commander was killed. Zaura also fell, and the Israelis captured the Einfit fortress. I'm so convinced I've written all of this down wrong. just the names.
Yeah.
Central sector, the 181st Battalion, Israeli 181st Battalion captured Dardara and Tel Hilal after fierce fighting. Along the northern axis, the Golani Brigade attacked 13 Syrian positions, including Tel Fakr. Not a joke. Navigational errors placed Israeli troops directly under Syrian guns, resulting in heavy casualties on both sides. Eventually captured after, Tel Fakr was eventually captured after 4 hours of close quarters, often hand-to-hand combat. The Golani Brigade's 51st Battalion took Tel Azaziyat, and Darbashia also fell. By evening, the 4 Israeli brigades had successfully breached Syrian defenses and reached the plateau, allowing the reinforcements and supply. By dawn, Israel had amassed 8 brigades in this sector, poised for further advances. The rapid mobilization and deployment of reinforcements showed Israel's logistical efficiency and determination to secure the strategic high ground. Day 6, unless you have more.
No.
Do you want day 6?
Going to day 6?
Mm-hmm.
So, day 6, the last day of this conflict.
Judgment Day.
So, Golan Heights is captured by the Israelis. And
I'm just thinking of a leaderboard. Day 6.
The UN finally gets a brokered ceasefire established from the Syrians to the Israelis. And I actually don't have a note if
They're only useful when everybody's already dead.
I was like, did the Iraqis
That's true.
Did Iraq ever like agree to a ceasefire in this, or
I mean,
did they just be like, we're out of this?
The way I read, Iraq wasn't really like a formal belligerent in the conflict.
Their dozen aircraft got knocked out, and they're like, yeah, no, we're done with this.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, because I don't think I wrote down anything about Iraq really, other than in the beginning.
And so essentially, the fighting comes to a stop. The Gaza Strip, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Peninsula have all been taken by Israel, and all the other countries got their absolute ass handed to them.
Yeah, this is June 10th.
This is June 10th. In total, Israel lost 800 soldiers compared to the Arab nations that lost 20,000. 15.
I do have a table. Please continue.
15,000 of those being Egyptians. Israel, who now has a lot more territory, this would not last. Go figure. There's another war in like 10 years, or no, 6 years after this.
Okay, here we go. So military balance at outset. Troops to Israel 264,000. Arab coalition, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and Iraq, whatever they contributed, 465,000. Israel had 800 tanks. Arab coalition had 2,500. And Israel had 250 to 300 aircraft. Arab coalition had 800. Hello. Casualties and losses. Killed Israel 776 to 983. Egypt 9,800 to 15,000. Jordan around 700. Syria 1,000 to 2,500. Again, that's all killed. I won't waste time with wounded. Tanks lost. Israel 400, Egypt 700, Jordan and Syria unknown. Israel lost 46 aircraft total to include the 19 and then more. Egypt lost 282 to 350. Jordan 21, Syria 60. And that was somebody's entire Air Force. One of them.
I think it was Syria and Jordan that just lost. They only had like.
Oh, was it both of them?
I know 2 countries on the outset.
Okay,
on that day one just lost everything.
Okay, then it was them. But continue. I knew I had a table somewhere.
Essentially, so Israel has all this ground, but this ladle later come back to kind of bite them in the ass. They do not have the manpower to defend all of this. And they talk about it as if it's a buffer zone, but they don't treat it like it. After the war, they start putting settlements in all of these areas. And so they're not buffer zones. These are now areas they have to defend and cannot, they can't let other nations take it.
The area that they gained in the Sinai Peninsula alone was 60,000 square kilometers.
Yeah. And so
yeah, they went from like the side. I don't know what state you would compare them to. Israel, like as it is, square footage wise, but I mean, it looks like they balloon up to like the size of Nevada when you throw in the Sinai Peninsula.
Yeah,
it's huge.
They take a lot more ground, and honestly, like this was 6 days, and everyone got their ass handed to them. And you would think this would be like, oh, so everyone chilled the fuck out for like a couple decades. No, again, in 6 years we have the Yom Kippur War.
Yes.
That is majorly fought by Israel and Egypt again.
I think Aaron has a figure for us.
I do, actually. So Israel, I just, a little Googling. When you compare it to a state inside the U.S., it is smaller than Massachusetts.
Smaller than Massachusetts? Wow.
Yeah, so smaller than Massachusetts, and is actually 1/5 the size of Kentucky.
Wow. Okay.
So very, very small.
Yeah, and I was just eyeballing the Nevada thing before somebody says something, but
that's why I figured I'd Google it real quick.
just looking at how it ballooned up.
So according to this, it says that it's roughly the size of New Jersey.
Once it has the Sinai Peninsula?
Let me get a year on that. Crap, I hit the wrong button.
And actually, there's this one website, I think it's truesize.org or something.
That sounds familiar.
And where they take a Mercator map, the Mercator map, the one that you know, and you can click a country and you can drag it, right? So as you drag it, you see the classic outline that you would have, like Greenland's a good example where they make it huge for whatever reason. And you drag it to whatever country you want. And it'll shrink down to its actual ratio and everything, and in representation of what it actually would be.
Yeah, because the closer to the top or bottom of the map is more distorted than the center.
Yeah, well, Greenland looks like it's on par with the entire continent of Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, so you drag that down, and then you compare it to Africa, and it's like the size of Nigeria.
Right.
Or something. Don't quote me on that. But
yeah, I know what you're going for, though. Yeah.
It's a cool website.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. But yeah, the long and short of it, though, Israel is smaller than every state, essentially.
Which is what I kind of expected. I thought it maybe would be like Rhode Island or something.
It's pretty fucking.
That's pretty friggin' small. So my Nevada thing's probably way off.
Nevada's too big for that.
Yeah.
It's too good for it.
Yeah. Well, I meant once the peninsula's in there, and so I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know what you would compare it to, but it was a lot of gained ground. Was my especially if they only had, what did I say, 264,000 troops, and you just quadrupled your size.
Yeah.
We had 264 before anybody died.
Israel and the Middle East never really chills out. And so, even to this day,
Spoiler alert.
Obviously tensions are still very high.
Send over the missiles.
I would say it's not tense anymore. Everybody knows exactly where everybody is.
Yeah, there's no tension right now.
It's relief.
Because I was looking at just the aftermath of this 6 day war, or however you want to refer to it. So yeah, you said take the Sinai Peninsula. They took the Gaza Strip from Egypt. Sinai was also, they took that from Egypt. They took the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan. They took the Golan Heights from Syria.
Yeah.
So that's all these things are referring to. I mean, obviously the Gaza Strip, we were hearing about the news right now. So,
and the Sinai didn't. It was returned in 79.
Okay.
Yeah. The big problem they walked into is they had a considerable amount more land that they would not be able to defend or keep control of. They tried building settlements throughout all these different areas. And the big issue is now they have all of these different demographics, these Palestinians, they have these Arabic populations that they want nothing to do with.
Yeah. Speaking of the Palestinians, it actually took over 1 million Palestinians became under the control of Israel at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people that don't like you.
Yeah.
Almost like if the UN could do its fucking job, some of this could be avoided.
So, and actually, in reference to that, it was UN Resolution 242.
Yeah.
Was the one that called for Israel to withdraw from the territories in exchange for peace.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue was that they wrote it so piss poorly that nobody knows what it actually means.
Yeah, imagine that.
So that the UN again is the fucking problem.
Yeah, always is. A government of governments.
Yeah, I can't end well.
No, the committee of committees.
It can't end well. Sounds like my old job. Just a bunch of people talking about shit that makes them sound important, but at the end of the day, accomplishes nothing.
That's exactly it. That's exactly. Oh my god, I hate them. Them in the World Economic Forum. I swear to freaking god, that Klaus guy. Proceed.
Honestly, if you had my former job, you would have quit immediately because that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
A lot of people trying to sound important and accomplishing absolutely jack shit, but then little people have to do all the work.
Exactly. Or the dying.
Why'd you point at me?
Again, Rwanda, Yugoslavia.
Oh, I was gesturing in your general direction.
I am the little people.
I mean, okay. Anyways.
Somalia is still a failed state.
Okay.
But they love to tout that one.
We're just gonna keep this pushing because we're at an hour and a half. And
John, proceed.
I'm out of notes.
All right, fantastic. So yeah,
I went to 242.
So yeah, that's what I was like getting into, like just the wrap up of that. So yeah, Resolution 242 is essentially what fucked this up. Obviously, the listeners, you can look that up yourself, read what it says. This also caused this set up or laid the groundwork for, if you will, the PLO, or the Palestinian Liberation Movement, was
yeah. And if you're as old as we are,
a third of I'm sorry, 2/3 of us,
or older,
if you're geriatric,
you grew. I will unplug that headset like I'll unplug you. Then you grew up, hearing about Yasser Arafat every week.
Yeah,
every week. And this is why.
Yep. So yeah, and this led up to, again, like this opened the door for the reason why this episode was so topical is this opened up the door for what's happening now. Essentially, the West Bank obviously is still in contention. East Jerusalem is still in contention. Israel still trying to expand again. Which I'm again not putting my opinions on any of this. That's just what's happening.
Yeah,
that's just fact, not opinion.
I wish I had been thinking last year with October and the whole Hamas thing.
Oh yeah,
and I should have brought it up then. But at least I thought about it now. Trending.
Yeah, good times. Not really. But
so
anyways.
What we're saying is this is the last of the conflict in the Middle East, and everyone's going to be real cool after this.
What parallel universe did you walk in from?
You got to speak it into the
fucking nice.
You got to speak it into the universe.
Don't give me the manifest bullshit. I'm so sick. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck. I am so sick of that new age crap.
If you don't shoot them, I will.
I'm gonna manifest this into fucking easy. Fuck you.
Okay, we're just gonna end the podcast. So
speak it into the universe, and it will become true.
I do not share the opinions of Ben. He's just old and crotchety. Don't come for the podcast. Come for him.
You share that though.
Fair enough.
Old and crotchety.
It's true. So yeah, if you made it this far in the episode, I'm assuming you guys are done, right?
Yeah, I had up to 242, and then I'm
fantastic.
Set.
All right, so if you made it this far in the episode, we appreciate you guys listening to us. Please give us a like, give us a follow, give us a rating too online. By the way, I think we are at like a 4.9 on Spotify currently. We, a couple more of us would be pretty cool.
What you said? We're at an hour and a half.
Yes.
Right? So round up to 2 hours. We're about 1% of the way through 6 day war. Okay,
so anyways, if you made it this far, we appreciate the support you've always given us. Please, like I said before, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Check out the website, requiredtastepodcast.com. We have video. Obviously, I'm looking into it right now. You can follow us on YouTube as well. We're posting videos all the time now, so that's going to be kind of a permanent fixture at this point. And we appreciate the support, and y'all be cool.